digging a pit for the scumbag man and the vile woman to fall into hell. During my wedding, just as we reached the ring exchange, a young, pregnant woman suddenly appeared. She glared at me and declared, "I am his true love. You don't deserve to marry him." I smiled, handed her my bouquet, and said, "Really? Then you marry him." With that, I immediately announced the annulment of the wedding, swapping brides on the spot. She had no idea this was a trap I had spent 2 years meticulously preparing. Her dramatic appearance and disruption of the ceremony was just the first step in my plan to drag them both into hell. My ring finger throbbed, clenched painfully, but Daniel's song still hadn't placed the ring on my hand. He had turned his head, staring fixedly at the entrance, utterly motionless. Everyone followed his gaze, and the entire hall buzzed with whispers. Then, a young woman in a wedding dress, clutching her train, strode directly onto the stage, pushed the groom aside, and stared at me. "I am his true love," she declared. "You don't deserve to marry him. I am the only one who can be the bride today." The hall erupted in chaos, all eyes now on me. Slowly, I lifted my veil, then offered my bouquet to her, smiling. "Really? If you are his true love, then marry him." With that, I took the MC's microphone, turned to the guests, and announced, "Daniel Song, CEO of Song Corporation, and I have been betrothed since childhood, but this arrangement wasn't born of mutual love. It was because my mother once saved his life. Although I love him and wish to marry him, he loves another. Therefore, I must step aside and grant them their happiness. As of today, the engagement between us is null and void. I sincerely wish them both well." I handed the microphone back to the MC. Daniel squeezed my wrist, growling, "Coco, what are you doing?" I calmly smiled. "I'm making way for you and your true love. Shouldn't you be thanking me?" He was speechless. At that moment, a swarm of reporters surged forward. "Mr. Song, why are there 2 brides at this wedding? Can you explain this to us? We hear the Song Corporation is about to go public. Will today's events affect that? There are rumors that Mr. Song is embroiled in many romantic scandals and no longer focused on the corporation's business. Is this true?" Daniel, panicked and furious, bellowed, "Shut up! All of you shut up! Who let you in here? Get out!" The woman in the wedding dress tried to approach him, but he pushed her to the ground. She screamed, then looked down, her vision blurring. "Ah, blood!" She clutched her stomach, her face ashen. "Daniel, our baby, what? I'm pregnant. Clear the way, everyone move." Daniel scooped her up and rushed out. The reporters, cameras hoisted, ran after them. Inside, my heart swelled with immense satisfaction at their performance. I immediately called my contact. "Money is no object. Make sure it's perfect." "Don't worry, Ms. Coco. It'll be hard for the Song Corporation to recover this time. Daniel, you have no idea. I've been waiting for this day for so long. You thought you were so clever, hiding everything, but you walked right into the trap I set from the very beginning. And as for her appearance at the wedding to cause a scene was just the first step in my plan to drag both of you into hell." After changing out of my wedding dress, I drove to the cemetery. A light rain fell as I stood before my mother's tombstone, holding a black umbrella. "The man you saved so long ago," I told her, "has finally betrayed me. If I could choose, I wish you had never saved him. But it's all right. I will make him pay." My mother had lost her life saving Daniel's song. More than 10 years ago, one summer, Daniel came to our house to play when a fire suddenly broke out. My mother used her last ounce of strength to push him out, while she was consumed by the flames. Her final words were, "Daniel, please take care of Coco." Daniel took my hand and we ran out. We survived, but my mother was gone. That incident caused a public sensation at the time. Daniel and I, who I considered my destined partner, had been childhood sweethearts, inseparable since we were young, and had a marriage promise nurtured since our youth. After the tragedy, his family, instead of distancing themselves, became even more caring and attentive towards me, as if to soothe the pain I had endured. However, that thoughtful treatment was merely a facade. Until my family fell into destitution, our fortune crumbled. My father, in despair, chose to end his life by jumping from a high-rise building, leaving me an orphan, alone in the world. From then on, my family, the Coco Group, fell from the pinnacle of fame and status into a dark abyss, enduring countless scornful glances and harsh gossip. The Song family publicly pretended they would shoulder responsibility and stand by me in my adversity, but behind their flowery words, they disdained and insulted me. People began whispering, blaming me as a bringer of bad luck, a disaster to all. It was then that I realized the true nature of their past good deeds was nothing but pretense, a perfectly executed charade. Initially, Daniel, whom I had once trusted and protected, maintained his concern, promising to be my solid rock, my only family from then on. But even he eventually abandoned that role because he had found someone new, someone who needed his protection and sweet words. That person was none other than Hailey Chen, the very woman who caused such a commotion, such a farce, at our wedding. Yet, how many in this world could have guessed that Hailey and I had known each other for a long time, even sharing a much more complicated relationship? She was the poor student I once helped, the one I arranged to become Daniel's close assistant. And yet, right before my eyes, she brazenly stole everything my love, the position that rightfully belonged to me. At first, their illicit affair was limited to secret meetings, hushed whispers in the dark. But when they saw I wasn't reacting, that I couldn't do anything, they grew bolder, publicly displaying their relationship. I confronted Daniel once, trying to get an explanation. In response, he coldly and indifferently said that he had only promised to marry me, never to love me with his whole heart. He told me not to demand too much, to be grateful for what his family had given me over the years, that it was enough. Daniel's mother, witnessing everything, even advised me to be more forgiving because, according to her, all men are like that. What truly solidified my resolve to destroy them was a fierce argument, during which Daniel uttered venomous words. "Can you stop mentioning your mother? I didn't force her to save me. She did it willingly." Hearing those words, my heart felt constricted, devoid of any emotion other than pain and bitter hatred. It was then I understood why he and Hailey were together, because they were the same kind of people, sharing the same cruel nature and purpose. Even Hailey once said to me, "I don't need your sponsorship. What right do you have to demand so much?" And Daniel's mother, behind my back, didn't hesitate to utter harsh words. "Ms. Coco dying early is her own fault. Who can she blame? If it weren't for public opinion, who would bother raising such an unlucky girl like Coco?" From that moment, hatred for those people took deep root in my heart, becoming the catalyst that spurred me to plan my revenge. Outwardly, however, I maintained a calm demeanor, as if I had accepted everything, resigned myself to fate. No matter how much they tormented or humiliated me, I remained indifferent, seemingly unconcerned. I even cared for Daniel's mother much more meticulously than before, while also running the company with utmost care and diligence, to the point that those around me, curious and perplexed by my actions, began to whisper behind my back, feeling I was weak and indecisive. "Ms. Coco is clearly a talented and brilliant woman in business, so why is she so weak and indecisive in love? Indeed, what good is being Mrs. Song? Mr. Song doesn't love her at all, she'll just swallow her resentment her whole life." I pretended not to hear those words. Instead, I chose an opportune moment to meet Hailey Chen alone, the one I considered a venomous snake. I asked her a question I had always wanted answered. "Why does it have to be Daniel Song?" She replied simply, concisely, "Love is love, there aren't many reasons." I asked again, "Have you never felt guilty towards me?" She responded with almost no hesitation, "No, because he doesn't love you. He said he was only with you out of obligation. If your mother hadn't saved him once, he would never have stayed with you. Aren't you bothered by being an unacknowledged third party for your entire life? You know very well that the person he will marry can only be me." She unconsciously rubbed her belly, her eyes gleaming with defiant arrogance. "Not necessarily." So, she was pregnant. The time was ripe. At this moment, Daniel and his mother were both at the hospital. I, alone and unhurried, savored the fruits of my painstaking labor. Online hot searches exploded in an instant. It was as if I'd snapped my fingers. Media outlets simultaneously uploaded and spread images of the chaotic wedding, along with the scandal of the Song Corporation's CEO, which had now reached every corner. It was indeed a dramatic story, no different from the most captivating TV dramas in the entertainment world. Furthermore, someone had quickly recognized the woman who caused the disturbance and ruined the wedding as the famous actress Hailey Chen. Previously, paparazzi had captured her and Daniel in intimate moments, and rumors circulated that she wasn't afraid to get pregnant before marriage to secure her position. And now, those rumors were confirmed. Now I could prepare for the next step, opening a new chapter in my play of revenge. The most exciting and thrilling acts were still ahead. I was about to make an important call when my phone rang. It was Daniel's mother. Her voice was frantic, weak. "Coco, can you come to the hospital? The reporters have completely blocked the entrance, not leaving anyone a way out." Of course they wouldn't, I wanted them to suffer. But now wasn't the time to show my hand. I offered comforting words yet replied, "Don't worry, Auntie, take care of yourself, I'll be right there." Invited as I was, how could I miss such an entertaining show? Besides, I wanted to personally check on the fruits of my labor. When I arrived at the hospital, the swarm of reporters surrounded me, all microphones pointed directly at me. "Ms. Coco, do you know about Mr. Song's relationship with Ms. Chen in the entertainment industry? How long have they been together? We hear your engagement was decided in childhood. Now that this has happened, what are your plans? Ms. Coco co-manages the Song Corporation with Mr. Song. If the engagement is broken, will it affect the corporation's development? Could Song Corporation's upcoming listing plan be suspended? Ms. Coco, please give us a statement." I faced them, calmly replying, "Please remain calm. Thank you for your concern for us and the Song Corporation. However, Ms. Chen is still unconscious, and saving her is the top priority. Regarding other matters, I am not at liberty to disclose anything at this time. Excuse me, please make way, everyone." I turned my back and entered the hospital, the reporters shouting behind me, held back by security. Amidst the commotion, I overheard someone whisper, "Why is she at the hospital, still worrying about the mistress? What true strength of a main wife? She must be enduring everything just to marry into wealth. How terrifying." Hearing these words, my heart remained unmoved. The days I was bound to Daniel were days of humiliation. Everyone ridiculed me, everyone looked down on me, but I never cared, because making him love me was not my goal. My goal was to make him pay. "Coco, you're here." Daniel's mother was the first to see me, wiping tears as she rushed forward. "I'm so sorry, dear. I apologize on Daniel's behalf. I never imagined the wedding would turn out like this." I gently patted her hand, comforting her. "Don't worry, Auntie, I'm fine. How is Ms. Chen?" she sighed. "She's still an emergency." The baby, unfortunately, couldn't be saved. Her voice sounded very sad. After all, it was her grandchild. Daniel sat on a hallway chair, head bowed, not glancing at me. I walked over to console him, but he brusquely swatted my hand away. "Coco, you did this on purpose, didn't you?" I feigned innocence. "Did what on purpose? Everyone knows we have an engagement." Announcing the annulment right, there was like slapping me in the face. "I know you hate me, and you hate Hailey Chen too, but there was no need to go this far." "Daniel," I interrupted him loudly, "please look at things correctly. The one who caused a disturbance at the wedding was her, not me. The one who pushed her was you, not me. In this matter, I am the victim." Daniel's mother, seeing my anger, immediately scolded him, telling him to speak respectfully to Coco. Daniel was known to be a filial son, a mama's boy. He might not listen to anyone else, but he meticulously obeyed his mother's words. After all, his father died early, and the two of them had relied on each other for many years. It was precisely this point that allowed me to hold his mother in the palm of my hand. As long as I pleased her, half the battle was won. Since I gained power in the company, she had become increasingly polite to me. If it had been before, in this situation, she would have long since reacted physically. "How dare you speak to my son like that? Who gave you the audacity?" That used to be her favorite saying, but now she didn't dare, afraid of angering me. I took a deep breath, sat down, and calmly said, "Daniel, I don't want to be bound by this engagement for the rest of my life. If you love her, marry her. If you don't love me, then let's end it decisively. I'm tired and don't want to prolong this." "Coco," he was about to speak when the operating room door suddenly opened. He shot up asking, "Doctor, how is she?" The doctor, removing his mask, replied, "The baby couldn't be saved, but the mother is temporarily out of danger, however." "However what?" "The patient will not be able to conceive again." The doctor finished, bowed politely, and left. Daniel mumbled in disbelief. How could this happen? Suddenly, his phone rang. He irritably hung up. Immediately after, my phone also rang. By now, the gift I'd left at the company must have been discovered. Indeed it had. As soon as I answered, the other party spoke in a panicked voice. "Ms. Coco, the company is being investigated by the tax authorities. You and Mr. Song must come back immediately." "Mother, what's wrong?" Daniel's mother, seeing my changed expression, asked. "It's the company. The company has run into trouble." "Daniel, this is just the beginning. The real karma is still waiting." Daniel's face showed clear panic. The sadness and regret from moments before instantly vanished. This was what truly terrified him. A man like him wouldn't know pain unless it struck at his very roots. After Daniel was taken away by the tax authorities, shareholders swarmed the company headquarters, demanding to liquidate their shares. The stock price plummeted uncontrollably, perhaps beyond salvation. Seizing this opportunity, the shareholders forced Daniel to resign, criticizing his poor management. For the past 3 years, Daniel had blindly poured money into the entertainment industry. Many projects had resulted in losses, yet he maintained a reckless, gambling mentality, becoming increasingly daring. Hailey Chen was just a minor actress he had promoted. There were many others. The entertainment company under his umbrella had evaded taxes and signed shadow contracts. Exposure was only a matter of time, but he hadn't expected that day to come so quickly. Of course, he didn't realize that I was the one behind it. In his eyes, I had been dedicated to the company for years, enduring everything in front of him just to maintain my status as Mrs. Song, so he would never suspect me. This was precisely the effect I wanted. Only when he let his guard down could I calmly execute my schemes. This tax investigation was merely a gentle warning from me. This wasn't the end, it was just the beginning. His retribution had only just begun. Coco, Daniel's mother, unexpectedly sought me out to discuss countermeasures. Do you know anything about this tax investigation, dear? Daniel has always been so careful with his work. How could it come to this? Don't worry, it's just an investigation for now, no results yet. But I'm afraid this time it's more bad than good. She sighed, then continued, At this point, I won't hide anything from you. The truth is, I've known about Daniel and Hailey Chen for a long time. I advised him not to do anything foolish, but he wouldn't listen. It's just, why did Hailey suddenly appear at the wedding? She clearly said she would. She hesitated, looking at me with immense remorse. I'm so sorry, Coco, it's my fault. I apologize. It was only because Hailey Chen was carrying Daniel's child, an innocent baby, that I asked him to keep it a secret. Just temporarily, I said. If Hailey Chen's baby is born safely, we'll consider. I clearly understood her unspoken implication. What decision would she make? Would she bring Hailey into the Song family? Of course he'll marry you. She cut me off, her tone rushed, trying to justify herself. The engagement between you and Daniel cannot be changed. I only see you as the Song family's daughter-in-law. Deep down, I just let out a cold, hollow laugh. What if it doesn't change? Will it stop him from living a polygamous life with countless mistresses out there? Looking at her face, I only felt disgust, a sickening pretense. Though she was an elder in the family, she was no different from Daniel, both hypocritical and two-faced. Regarding Hailey Chen, I still vividly remembered her words to Daniel. Every single word was etched into my mind. Hailey Chen is carrying a child of the Song family. We must keep it, no matter what. What if Coco finds out? That girl is just an orphan the Song family has raised for all these years. That's already a great kindness. And Daniel had replied nonchalantly, without a hint of hesitation, Don't worry, mother, I know what to do. And so, I had to witness Daniel secretly taking Hailey Chen to an out-of-town villa, caring for her meticulously, lavishing money and resources on her, transforming her from an ordinary student into a famous screen star. I had to witness their intimate gestures, their passionate affection, and even their journey to having a child together. Now, remembering these things, I was left with only a strange indifference, an almost abnormal aloofness. Auntie, I said slowly, my voice gentle. Daniel and I have canceled our engagement. Whether you acknowledge me as your daughter-in-law or not, it no longer matters. I'm staying at the company because of unfinished tasks, things that haven't been handed over yet. When Daniel returns, when he comes back, please tell him to apologize to me himself. But before I could finish, she hastily interrupted, trying to appease me. Don't worry, he always listens to me. With me here, he wouldn't dare disobey. He will marry you. The problem, however, was that I no longer cared whether he married me or not. I merely curved my lips into a faint, fleeting smile and said nothing more. Reflecting now, Daniel's mother's attitude toward me had likely begun to shift ever since I started demonstrating my business acumen. When I consistently secured major contracts, she once told Daniel privately, Coco truly has innate business talent. She is indeed worthy of being a daughter of the Coco Group. If you marry her soon, it will greatly benefit the corporation's development. It was then that I clearly understood one thing. To stand firm in this society, to earn genuine respect from others, there was no other way but to become strong and self-reliant. In reality, after my parents passed away one after another, very few people remembered the Coco Group, and hardly anyone remembered me as the pampered heiress of a wealthy family. For me, this was actually a good thing. They had no idea that after the Coco Group went bankrupt, I had secretly gathered its core members and established a new company. No one knew that I was the one behind it. When I learned Hailey Chen was pregnant, I deliberately accelerated the wedding date. Initially, Daniel objected, fearing Hailey would be agitated and suffer complications. To counter this, I took one step back to take two steps forward. I gently told Daniel's mother, perhaps we should call off the engagement. Daniel might already have someone else in his heart. Immediately, Daniel's mother pulled her trick, feigning a heart attack to force Daniel to accept the marriage, because at that moment, the Song Corporation could not afford my absence. Furthermore, everyone knew about my mother's sacrifice to save Daniel years ago. She feared public condemnation and criticism. Daniel was forced to agree because when his mother feigned a heart condition, he would dutifully obey her. Moreover, the emergency medicine she always carried with her was meticulously prepared by me. I had cared for her with utmost devotion, and she had grown accustomed to it. As for Hailey Chen, Daniel's mother's ultimate solution was to temporarily keep her outside, caring for her until she safely gave birth, then find a way to abandon the mother and keep the child, giving Hailey a sum of money to disappear from their lives. That was also why Hailey was surprised when she appeared at the wedding, despite having clearly signed an agreement. So how did things spiral out of control? Of course, because I had secretly orchestrated it. She would likely never know this. I had spent a lot of time infiltrating the Song Corporation, gradually earning their trust. They thought I was working so hard just to become Mrs. Song one day. But my true purpose was to gather evidence, investigate the truth, and then bring them to justice. A powerful conglomerate is not easily destroyed. Only by sowing internal discord could it be uprooted. Daniel probably had no idea that many of the mutually exploitative contracts he had signed were largely orchestrated by me, and I even personally brought some alluring minor celebrities closer to him. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will triumph in 100 battles. Living together for so many years, no one understood him better than I did. At first, it was just a plan, but Hailey Chen's pregnancy accelerated the process and made everything much easier. Because she was foolish, not just foolish, but also emotionally unstable, very easily manipulated and swayed. I just needed to provoke her slightly, and she would immediately rush to Daniel to create a scene. She dared to appear at the wedding because she believed that Daniel and his mother would definitely choose her, would side with her. I had secretly hinted to her that Daniel's mother desperately wanted grandchildren, and I, due to health issues, couldn't have children. Therefore, she was convinced that I was no match for her, and she would undoubtedly become Mrs. Song. But she had no idea this was a trap I had meticulously laid long ago. If she hadn't caused a scene, my plan couldn't have proceeded. She also didn't know that the baby in her womb originally had no chance of survival. She had a progesterone deficiency in the early stages of pregnancy. The supplements had been secretly tampered with by me beforehand. Even if Daniel hadn't pushed her in front of the crowd, the pregnancy wouldn't have been sustainable. Her subsequent fertility issues were, in fact, an unexpected outcome, a bonus that came with my deeper calculations. During the time Daniel was summoned for investigation, I naturally took on a key role in operating the entire corporation. Daniel's mother relied on me more and more, asking me about the next steps. I simply replied calmly, waiting for the final results of the investigation. In reality, the outcome was clear as day. The rectification would merely involve repaying the evaded taxes and serving a few years in prison. However, I found that punishment insufficient to satisfy my interest in this game. I secretly aligned with major shareholders, carefully transferred business operations, and worked hard to persuade several key clients to quietly leave. By the time Daniel was released, the corporation was like a decaying ink painting, beyond salvation. Calculating the timing, I presumed Hailey Chen must have recovered sufficiently and would certainly seek me out to settle accounts. Sure enough, not long after, her figure appeared before me. I was tending to the snake plants on my desk. Hailey Chen stormed in angrily. Before my assistant could stop her, I signaled for her to call Daniel's mother and then leave. I looked at Hailey Chen, assessing her from head to toe, and remarked, "I'm surprised you're still in such good health." "Stop pretending," she blurted out, her eyes tearful, filled with resentment. "My baby is gone, and now I can never have children again." "You must be very pleased, aren't you?" I replied. "What are you talking about? This has nothing to do with me." "I know everything," Hailey Chen shrieked, tears streaming down her face. "You deliberately set a trap to make me disrupt the wedding. You're so cruel." I chuckled faintly at the accusation. "Do you have any proof? Feel free to accuse me." In her rage, she lost control, exclaiming, No wonder Daniel doesn't love you. A woman like you doesn't deserve to be loved. I shrugged indifferently, provoking her further. Do you believe me? Given the current situation, if I just say one word, he'll discard you like trash. And also, I mused for a moment, then continued, whether you can continue to exist in the entertainment industry depends on whether I'm in a good mood. The entertainment company you signed with also has some of my shares. Next time you see me, remember to behave properly. Hailey Chen's face turned crimson as she lunged to slap me, but was stopped by Daniel's mother just in time. Instead, Daniel's mother slapped her, scolding loudly, "You ungrateful wretch, how dare you come here and cause trouble?" Hailey Chen stared, bewildered, unable to believe her eyes. She certainly couldn't understand why a mother-in-law who had once doted on her would turn so quickly. In truth, it was simple. Previously, Daniel's mother protected her because she was carrying her precious grandchild. Now the baby was gone, the crucial pawn lost, and her value had consequently diminished to zero. Moreover, the Song Corporation now depended on me to maintain and develop. She couldn't risk displeasing me. Without me, her son might not escape legal ramifications. Most young women like Hailey Chen don't understand the true nature of social relationships, which are essentially exchanges of equal value. If you have no value, no one will truly respect you. Beauty, physique, charisma are merely bonuses, but without intelligence, ability, or power, being shunned by others is only a matter of time. Love is no different. In the end, love isn't about the depth or shallowness of feelings, but whether the person possesses a conscience. And conscience is the rarest thing, ultimately unreliable. The only thing one can rely on from beginning to end is oneself. I heard that after returning home, Hailey Chen had a furious outburst. Currently, no one was inviting her for acting roles. Her previous advertising contracts were canceled one after another. She also faced a huge sum in contract termination fees. At this point, she was enveloped by scandal, her reputation completely shattered. From a famous star, in an instant, she had become the condemned third party. Every time she opened her phone, she had to read mocking and sarcastic comments from netizens. Hailey Chen was truly too delusional, hoping to marry into a wealthy family and become Mrs. Song. How could the Song family accept someone like her through their doors? Even if the baby had been born, it would have just been an illegitimate child with no status. If it were me, I would have gone into hiding, too ashamed to show my face in public. However, Mr. Song's fiancé isn't simple either, is she? Everyone is speculating whether Mr. Song's arrest is related to her. Who knows? She doesn't seem like a simple person anyway. About a week after that event, as I was carefully assessing the number of cards left in my hand to prepare for the next moves, my secretary burst into my office in a panic and exclaimed, "Ms. Coco, there's a problem." I gestured for her to continue with a look in my eyes. She stammered, "Hailey Chen, she slashed her wrists 4 times. Slashed her wrists 4 times? I repeated, my tone utterly calm. So what if she slashed them 4 times? Why are you panicking? How does this concern us? I gave a faint, subtle smile. My secretary continued hesitantly. Before harming herself, she posted on social media, implying that you pushed her to her limit. I raised an eyebrow and asked, "Is there any concrete evidence?" She replied, flustered, "No, ma'am." I nodded. "Then let it be. Did I force her to become a mistress?" I took a sip of coffee, rhythmically placed the cup down, and continued, "You should calm down. I think there's an 80% chance she's just trying to put on a show and attract attention. If I'm not mistaken, she's probably still in the emergency room right now, isn't she?" My secretary was utterly surprised, asking, "How could you know?" I didn't answer. Instead, I picked up my handbag and said nonchalantly, "Come on, let's go to the hospital to visit her." It was during that unexpected trip to the hospital that I accidentally uncovered a shocking secret about Hailey Chen, crucial information that solidified my final plan. The more detailed and complex stages of this plan were all omitted from my thoughts. Upon arrival, Hailey Chen's attending physician revealed that she was suffering from severe depression and had a family history of mental illness. Furthermore, she had previously undergone treatment. However, recently, she had arbitrarily stopped taking her medication without any authorization. Her current health condition was very dangerous, requiring 24/7 supervision and absolute avoidance of strong emotional triggers. Hearing this, I immediately asked, "So, if she's agitated, what would be the consequences?" The doctor hesitated for a long time, then slowly replied, "It could be life-threatening." In my heart, a silent satisfaction arose. Excellent. I simply thought that Daniel's song was about to return, and having him be the one to trigger that agitation would be an excellent choice for both of them to sink into their shared demise. Indeed, when Daniel returned and witnessed the chaotic state of the Song Corporation, he was utterly distraught. He was burdened by a huge amount of evaded taxes, but the corporation was on the verge of bankruptcy, completely unable to pay that accumulating debt. Originally, my intention was to wait until he returned, then play all my remaining cards to send him to prison for a long time. However, that intention changed. In his heart, he began to suspect that I was the one manipulating the corporation from behind. He suspected that the previous secret contracts he had signed were all part of my plan. Yet, he lacked sufficient evidence and could only come to me to vent his anger. His face revealed clear anguish as he let out his frustrations. "Coco, why do you harbor such hatred for me? Is it all just because of Hailey Chen?" I calmly replied, my tone cold and decisive. "Yes, it is because of Hailey Chen. If I still had feelings for you, how could I overlook your betrayal? She appeared and humiliated me. Do I not have the right to be angry?" He remained silent for a long time, then finally looked up and met my gaze directly. "It was just a ruined wedding. I can compensate you. I can even completely sever my relationship with Hailey Chen." I looked at him, a glimmer of hope appearing in my eyes, and replied, "Are you serious? Then let's see your actions." I turned, intending to leave, but he called me back. "The person behind Fox Corporation. Is that you?" My heart gave a slight tremor. Fox Corporation, the Song Corporation's biggest competitor at the time, with many clients having canceled their partnerships with Song Corporation and switched to Fox Corporation. Had he figured it out? Good, I thought. It's time to let him know the truth, he continued. "Your mother's maiden name was Fox, and that company has several former veteran employees of the Coco Group." I shrugged nonchalantly, signaling that I wanted to hear him continue. He spoke bitterly. "Coco, you're behind everything, aren't you? You're the one who reported Song Corporation's tax evasion, aren't you? You were jealous of Hailey Chen and wanted to get revenge on me." He gave a bitter laugh. I never thought a woman's jealousy could drive her to this extent. I didn't directly respond. Instead, I said, "That doesn't matter. What matters is that you're broke now. I can help you, but first you have to deal with Hailey Chen." Not long after I left, he rushed to find Hailey Chen. At this time, Hailey Chen had just escaped a life-threatening crisis, and her mental state was extremely unstable. His choice to break up with her at this moment was indeed an irrational act, but it was precisely what I wanted. My contact reported that Hailey Chen had scheduled a meeting with Daniel for Sunday evening at 6:00 p.m. at a mountain resort, the place where they had first dated. The location was quite secluded. Daniel had agreed. "Yes," he agreed, "ma'am." Hailey Chen had threatened that if he didn't agree, she would expose everything, including all the secret agreements he had made not only with her, but also with many other models and actresses. Hearing this, a chill ran down my spine. These two fighting each other was truly fascinating. I guessed Hailey Chen chose that location perhaps to rekindle old memories and hope Daniel would change his mind. After all, Daniel was quite nostalgic. Whether he could safely leave that mountain after their breakup remained to be seen. But I knew for certain that he would not escape this separation, nor would he survive leaving that mountain. Sunday finally arrived. Before his final meeting with Hailey Chen, Daniel came to me. With a serious expression, he asked if I could give him a chance to start over. He pleaded, "Coco, I want to break up with Hailey Chen not just for your help, but because after everything we've been through, I've truly woken up. Recently, I've recalled so many things, including our childhood days. I truly loved you once, and I even wanted to marry you. It's just that later, I don't know why, perhaps because you pampered me too much, when people are overly indulged, they become complacent. Once I assumed you would never leave me, I let myself go and did wrong things. Actually, I cut him off coldly. Daniel, what exactly do you want to say? Whether I forgive you or not isn't up to your words. It's your actions that will determine everything. If you want to reconcile first, you must completely sever all relationships with other women." He eagerly committed. "From now on, I will prove it with my actions." I let out a faint, cold laugh, turned and walked away, thinking to myself, there will be no from now on. We have bid each other farewell forever, Daniel's song. At that moment, I received a call from Daniel's mother. She invited me to dinner, saying that, on behalf of her son, she wanted to apologize to me and congratulate us on our reunion. For me, a good drama isn't complete without an audience, so I gladly accepted. Dinner was arranged in a private room in a five-star hotel, just me and Daniel's mother. She enthusiastically served me food, continuously praising me, saying that the Song family was incredibly blessed to have me. I just smiled and said nothing, occasionally checking my mobile phone, especially after 6:00 p.m. Around 7:00 p.m., Daniel's mother received a phone call. As soon as she ended the call, her face immediately turned grim, as if she had just received some terrible news. My subtle intuition told me that the moment I had been waiting for had finally arrived, though it came unexpectedly earlier than I had anticipated. With outward concern, I turned my gaze towards her, intending to gently inquire about the situation. Unexpectedly, she suddenly dropped her phone to the tiled floor. Her entire body trembled, she collapsed to the ground, and her body began to convulse. I immediately understood she was facing a heart attack with extremely dangerous symptoms. In a panic, I shrieked, "Auntie, are you all right? Please don't scare me. Your medicine, where is your medicine? In your bag, quickly get it out." Without hesitation, with incredible swiftness, I immediately rushed towards the nearby sofa, where her usual handbag was placed. I frantically searched, hoping to find the special heart medicine she always used. However, misfortune wouldn't let up. In my hand was only an empty bottle. A surge of anger rose, and I furiously threw the empty bottle to the floor. Immediately after, I quickly pulled out my phone, dialed emergency services, and at the same time tried to calm her, lying motionless on the floor. "Auntie, please try to hold on a little longer. I'll go get help right away." Just as I exited the private room door in my haste, I accidentally bumped into a waiter carrying a tray of food. The crash echoed, ceramic plates shattered, falling to the floor, food scattering everywhere. Unfortunately, a sharp shard cut my hand and blood began to flow ceaselessly, stinging painfully. I cried out in pain. The waiter profusely apologized, bowing repeatedly. Around us, curious eyes turned towards us. The precious time to save someone having a heart attack is only about 4 to 6 minutes. Every passing second could determine survival. Despite the immense hatred in my heart for Daniel's mother, I had no intention of her dying at this moment. "Ah!" I cried out, my voice trembling with worry. "Don't mind me, everyone. There's someone having a heart attack in the private room at the end of the hallway. Is there a doctor in the hotel?" With all my effort, I tried to stand firm, while also trying to inform everyone of the situation. Upon hearing this, the hotel guests immediately rushed towards the private room where Daniel's mother lay. Fortunately, in that critical moment, a hotel guest happened to be a doctor. He immediately arrived and began initial first aid measures for Daniel's mother, stabilizing her condition until the ambulance arrived. However, cruel fate, perhaps due to extreme stress and utter panic, Daniel's mother ultimately could not survive the critical condition. I, of course, understood the deep-seated cause of Daniel's mother's sudden heart attack. It was all because of her only beloved son. Daniel Song had been in a tragic accident when his car veered off the road and plunged into a deep ravine, dying instantly at the scene. Sharing the same cruel fate was his mistress, Hailey Chen, who was in the passenger seat. According to police reports, a fierce argument had erupted between the two before the accident. The climax was when Hailey suddenly lost control and violently wrenched the steering wheel, sending the car plummeting into the ravine. It was notable that Hailey Chen had a history of mental illness. After recovering the in-car audio recording, a portion of the conversation was reconstructed. In summary, Hailey Chen had accused me of orchestrating everything with the intention of harming her. Daniel, disbelieving her words, asserted that I was not that kind of person and simultaneously announced his breakup with her, telling her not to harbor illusions about marriage. Hailey Chen was heartbroken, despairing to the extreme. In her anguish, she recalled her lost child, thought of never being able to conceive again, then remembered Daniel's sweet promises and hopes, and finally, the betrayal, the wounds, and the overwhelming despair. She could no longer bear it, and her psychological control erupted. Her mental illness had flared up. At just one moment, when she was agitated to her limit, she completely lost her sanity and fell into a state of frenzy. And then she chose to permanently leave this world with Daniel Song. The police, relying on this crucial audio recording, summoned me for questioning, attempting to clarify all ambiguities. With a chilling composure, I recounted in detail the entire complex relationship between myself, Daniel Song, and Hailey Chen, while refuting all their suspicions. After all, it was all just one-sided accusations from Hailey Chen, without any concrete evidence. Moreover, those were the words of a mentally unstable patient. Ultimately, the case was concluded as a tragic accident. The deaths of both were unintentional. After the information was released, heated debates erupted on social media. Some believed this was self-inflicted karma and reveled in their tragic end. Others suspected that behind it all was the hand of someone who had secretly caused harm. When I successfully injected more capital into Song Corporation and officially became the CEO, these suspicions grew even stronger. But I no longer cared, because at this point, I was merely a wealthy queen who had just lost her fiancé. Furthermore, at Daniel Song's funeral, I wept so bitterly that anyone who saw me had to exclaim, "Ms. Coco is truly devoted. Mr. Song treated her terribly when he was alive, yet she still can't forget him." In their eyes, I was just a foolish girl who, despite being abandoned at a prestigious wedding, refused to give up, determined to marry into the Song family. As rumors spread, the gossip and slander gradually faded away. More and more people sympathized with me. After Daniel Song's death, I frequently had strange dreams. I dreamed of the fateful night my mother perished in the flames, dreamed of her pushing Daniel out, urgently telling him, "Daniel, please take care of Coco for me." But in the dream, Daniel disagreed, telling her, "Auntie, just take care of yourself." Then he refused to be saved, choosing death with the fire. I always woke up feeling uneasy, heavy with thought. If only that were true, I thought, how wonderful it would be. If only that were true, my mother wouldn't have died and I would have had a completely different life, a life without Daniel's Song. Thinking this, I suddenly realized, isn't this how it is now? He's gone. I couldn't help but smile, the corners of my lips curving slightly, revealing a faint glimmer of hope. I had found hope for my life again.